The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before the Imperial observation deck, where Admiral Jinho Park maintained his usual stoic posture. His dark uniform, adorned with the gleaming insignia of the Galactic Empire's Fleet Command, reflected the soft blue glow from countless holographic star systems floating around him. The Admiral's eyes narrowed as he studied a particular point of light, a newly discovered solar system that had caught the Empire's attention during their routine expansion scans. What made this discovery intriguing wasn't its location or size, but rather the peculiar readings emanating from its third planet. "Status report," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of decades of military service. Captain He-yun stepped forward, her crisp movements reflecting years of Imperial training. Her fingers moved gracefully across the holographic control panel, bringing up detailed scans of the blue planet. "Sir, initial scans confirm it's inhabited by a dominant bipedal species. They call their world Earth." She paused, a hint of dismissal in her tone. "Preliminary assessment suggests they're barely past industrial development. They've only managed a few primitive orbital stations and one small lunar outpost." The Admiral nodded slowly, watching as the holographic display zoomed in to show various aspects of human civilization. Cities sprawled across continents, connected by networks of ground vehicles and primitive aircraft. Orbital debris cluttered the planet's immediate space, telling tales of countless failed attempts at space exploration. "Standard conquest protocols should suffice," He-yun continued, pulling up the Empire's standardized civilization assessment metrics. "They haven't even developed basic gravity manipulation technology. Their weapons are—" She wrinkled her nose slightly, "chemical-based projectiles and crude atomic devices." The observation deck fell silent as the officers studied the data. It was Lieutenant Ta Wu who broke the silence, his young voice carrying an unusual note of concern. "Sir, permission to speak freely." The Admiral turned to face the junior officer, noting the troubled expression on his face. "Granted, Lieutenant." Ta Wu stepped forward, his fingers quickly manipulating the holographic display. "There's something unusual about their development patterns, sir." He brought up a series of graphs and charts. "Look at their technological progression over the last century of their time." The display showed an erratic pattern of advancement that made the Admiral lean forward with interest. "Explain." "Most species follow a predictable curve of technological development," Ta Wu explained, highlighting various points on the graph. "But these humans, their progress is irregular. They made massive leaps in some areas while seemingly neglecting others. It's as if," he hesitated, "as if they're deliberately maintaining an appearance of technological disparity." Captain He-yun scoffed. "That's absurd. No species would intentionally hold back their development." "Unless they had a reason to," the Admiral murmured, his eyes fixed on the display. The Cultural Assimilation Department's automatic assessment systems had already flagged Earth for standard conquest protocols. It was a routine procedure: identify developing worlds, assess their threat level, and incorporate them into the Empire before they could become problematic. But something about Ta Wu's observation nagged at the Admiral's mind. In his 3 centuries of service, he'd overseen the assimilation of dozens of worlds. None had ever shown such irregular development patterns. "Run a deep scan of their information networks," he ordered suddenly. "I want to know everything about their military history." The results came in within hours, and they were troubling. Earth's history was filled with constant warfare, yet they'd somehow avoided destroying themselves. Their military strategies showed remarkable adaptation and innovation, even with primitive technology. "Sir," Ta Wu called out, his voice tense, "you need to see this." He brought up a new set of data. "Their energy consumption patterns don't match their visible technology level. There are massive power draws that we can't account for, and their quantum signature readings." He trailed off, looking confused. Admiral Jinho Park felt a chill run down his spine, something he hadn't experienced in centuries. The Empire had encountered thousands of developing civilizations, but none quite like this. These humans were either remarkably inefficient in their development, or they were hiding something significant. As the Cultural Assimilation Department's orders came through, marking Earth for standard conquest protocols, the Admiral made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. He opened a secure channel to the Imperial High Command. "This is Admiral Park," he stated formally, requesting detailed analysis of System 7249, designation Earth. Recommend caution in standard protocols. Something about this world doesn't add up. Little did he know that deep beneath Earth's surface, in bunkers shielded from Imperial scans by technology the Empire couldn't even detect, humanity was already aware of their observers. They had been watching, waiting, and preparing for this moment for far longer than the Empire could imagine. The game of deception had begun, and humanity was playing a long game that would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Empire. The Imperial diplomatic fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, their massive ships casting long shadows across the void. General Minki stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Dawn, watching as the blue planet grew larger on their main display. "Primitive detection systems should register our presence in approximately 6 hours, his science officer reported, reviewing standard protocols for first contact with developing worlds. Minki nodded, straightening his perfectly pressed uniform. After thousands of successful planetary acquisitions, the Empire had refined their approach to an art. First, show overwhelming force. Then offer the natives a choice between peaceful submission or complete annihilation. It was simple, efficient, and had never failed. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're detecting unusual activity from the planet's surface." The general frowned. "Unusual how?" "They've already spotted us. Their global communications are lighting up." But the officer paused, looking confused. They don't seem surprised or panicked. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Defense Director Song Yi Li watched real-time holographic projections of the Imperial fleet's approach. The massive underground command center hummed with activity as personnel monitored systems that had remained hidden from the galaxy for decades. "Status report," she commanded, her voice calm despite the historic moment unfolding before them. Colonel Jihu approached with a tablet displaying various readings. "All global defense systems are online and ready. The quantum shield grid is operating at full capacity. They still haven't detected our true technological capabilities." Song Yi allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had detected the Empire's communications 50 years ago, when their first quantum listening posts picked up faster than light transmissions from distant stars. Instead of announcing their discovery to the galaxy, Earth's leaders had made a crucial decision. "Prepare in secret. Launch the Ghost satellites," Song Yi ordered. "Let's give them something obvious to focus on." Across Earth's orbit, small defensive satellites powered up, deliberately designed to appear crude and hastily deployed. It was part of an elaborate deception that humanity had crafted over decades. Back on the Imperial Dawn, General Minki watched with amusement as Earth's defensive measures came online. "How quaint," he remarked. "They think they can defend themselves with such primitive technology." "Sir," his tactical officer interrupted, "we're detecting nuclear signatures. They appear to be preparing their atomic weapons." Minki almost laughed. Nuclear weapons were practically ancient history to the Empire. Their shields could easily withstand such primitive attacks. "Proceed with standard approach pattern. Prepare the diplomatic broadcast." In the underground command center, Colonel Jihu monitored the Imperial fleet's movements. "They're following exactly the pattern we extracted from their military databases," he reported, arrogant to the last. Song Yi nodded, remembering the years of careful preparation. Earth's quantum computers had broken Imperial encryption decades ago, allowing humanity to study their tactics, technology, and weaknesses, while the Empire saw a struggling civilization barely able to reach their own moon. Humanity had built a defense network that spread throughout the solar system, hidden by technology the Empire couldn't even comprehend. All stations, Execute Operation Blindside, Song Yi commanded. Around the world, hidden facilities powered up systems that would turn the Empire's own technology against them. The Imperial fleet moved closer, their massive ships arranged in a standard intimidation formation. General Min Ki prepared to broadcast the Empire's demands, confident in another routine conquest. "Sir," his sensor officer suddenly called out, panic in his voice. "We're detecting energy signatures, but that's impossible." "Explain," Min Ki demanded, his confidence wavering for the first time. "The readings, they're similar to our quantum core technology, but the power levels are off the charts. They're coming from all around us." Song Yi watched the confusion spread through the Imperial fleet with satisfaction. "Activate the quantum disruption field," she ordered. "Let's show them what 50 years of preparation looks like." The trap was sprung. Humanity's hidden technology began to affect the Imperial ships in ways their crews had never experienced. The Empire's mistake had been assuming that Earth's visible technology represented their true capabilities. They were about to learn that appearances could be very deceiving. In orbit, the Imperial fleet's formation began to waver as their systems encountered interference they couldn't explain. General Min Ki's confident expression turned to concern as reports of failing systems flooded in from all ships. "Impossible," he whispered, watching as Earth revealed its true face. The primitive world they had come to conquer was showing signs of technology that rivaled or even surpassed their own. In the underground command center, Song Yi turned to her staff. "Send the message we prepared. Let's show the Empire why they should have looked more carefully before threatening Earth." The game of deception was over, and the Empire's mistake was about to become painfully clear. Humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this moment, and they intended to make it memorable. Commander Du Hyun floated helplessly in the command center of his flagship, the Imperial Might, as chaos erupted around him. Warning lights flashed across every control panel, while crew members drifted through the air, desperately trying to grab onto anything fixed. "Engineering report," he shouted into his communicator, but only static answered him. The loss of artificial gravity was just the beginning. Throughout the massive vessel, critical systems were failing one after another. "Manual backup systems aren't responding," his first officer reported, pushing off a wall to steady himself. "It's like something is interfering with the quantum core itself." Across the Imperial fleet, similar scenes played out on every ship. Communication systems crackled with distorted messages before falling silent. Navigation computers displayed impossible readings. Weapon systems powered down despite multiple restart attempts. In a heavily shielded facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Yoon-Gai Kim monitored the effectiveness of humanity's countermeasures with quiet satisfaction. Dozens of holographic displays showed the status of each Imperial vessel, their systems being systematically dismantled by technology they couldn't even detect. "The quantum interference matrix is performing beyond expectations," one of his scientists reported. "Their ship's cores are completely vulnerable to our control signals." Dr. Kim nodded, remembering the decades of work that had led to this moment. When humanity first detected Imperial communications, they had discovered a fatal flaw in the Empire's quantum technology. Instead of revealing this weakness, Earth's scientists had spent years developing ways to exploit it. "Their entire fleet architecture is based on quantum entanglement technology," he explained to the United Earth Council members watching from secure locations worldwide. But they never imagined someone could manipulate the entanglement patterns themselves. In orbit, Commander Du Hyun watched in growing horror as his mighty fleet became helpless. Despite all their advanced technology, despite their overwhelming firepower, they couldn't even maintain stable orbit around this supposedly primitive world. "Launch the dropships," he ordered desperately. "We'll establish a ground presence at least." But the dropships faced their own problems. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, their guidance systems went haywire. Some veered off course, others lost power completely. Those few that managed to maintain control found themselves pushed back into space by invisible forces. Dr. Kim's team had anticipated this move. "Activate the atmospheric defense grid," he commanded. Hidden emitters around the globe generated quantum fields that turned the very air into an impenetrable barrier. The Empire's attempts to establish a beachhead failed spectacularly. Dropships either retreated or crashed into the ocean, where waiting Earth vessels quickly retrieved them. Not a single Imperial soldier managed to set foot on the planet's surface. In the Undersea Command Center, Dr. Kim accessed a secure channel to the Imperial fleet. "Commander Do-hyun," he spoke calmly, "I suggest you order your forces to stand down. This demonstration represents only a fraction of our capabilities." The commander's response came through filled with static and disbelief. "How? How is this possible? Your world showed no signs of advanced technology." "That was by design," Dr. Kim replied. "We've been watching your empire for decades, studying your every weakness. Your encryption methods, which you thought unbreakable, were decoded by our quantum computers years ago. Throughout the Imperial fleet, more systems continued to fail. Life support remained functional, a deliberate choice by Earth's defenders to show both their power and their mercy. In the council chamber, representatives from Earth's nations watched the events unfold with a mixture of pride and relief. Their gamble had paid off. The decision to hide their true technological level, to appear primitive while secretly preparing for this very moment, had proven correct. "Should we proceed with Phase 2? One of Dr. Kim's assistants asked, referring to their plans to demonstrate even more advanced capabilities. Dr. Kim studied the tactical displays showing the completely neutralized Imperial fleet. "Not yet," he decided. "Let them absorb this lesson first. Sometimes the best way to teach is to let the student contemplate their failure." Commander Do-hyun's voice came through again, this time with a hint of fear. "What are your demands?" "For now, just listen," Dr. Kim responded. "Your empire made a serious mistake in thinking that visible technology reflects true capability. Earth has chosen to reveal only a small portion of our advancement. Consider carefully what that means for your future plans." As the disabled Imperial ships drifted in orbit, their crews coming to terms with their complete defeat, humanity's hidden strength had become undeniable. The Empire's mighty fleet, capable of destroying entire worlds, had been rendered helpless by a civilization they had dismissed as primitive. The message was clear. Earth was not to be underestimated, and humanity's greatest strength lay not in their technology, but in their patience and strategic thinking. In the heart of Mount Fuji's hidden quantum transmission facility, Dr. Naeum Cho took a deep breath as she prepared to address the Galactic Empire. The massive broadcast array before her represented decades of reverse-engineered Imperial communication technology, enhanced by human innovation. Technicians made final adjustments to the quantum resonance chambers that would carry her message across thousands of light years. The Empire was about to learn that their defeat at Earth was just the beginning. "Transmission ready," announced her chief engineer. "We have access to all Imperial communication channels. They won't be able to block this." Naeung nodded, her expression determined. The message she was about to deliver had been carefully crafted to demonstrate Earth's power while offering a path to peace. The Empire needed to understand that further aggression would have severe consequences. Broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. Her voice, translated simultaneously into every language used across Imperial space, began to echo through the stars. "To the Galactic Empire and all its subject worlds, I speak on behalf of Earth. You assumed we were primitive because we chose to appear so. That was your first mistake." As she spoke, carefully planned demonstrations of Earth's power began across Imperial space. On the central Imperial world of New Terra, gravity suddenly reversed in the government district. On the military base world of Centauri Prime, every quantum computer simultaneously displayed Earth's message. "For 50 years, we studied your civilization," Naeum continued. "We learned your languages, decoded your transmissions, and understood your weaknesses, while you saw what you expected to see, a primitive world barely reaching for the stars. We prepared." In Imperial space, Admiral Jinho's horror grew as reports flooded his command center. The quantum gravity disruptors that Earth had used against their invasion fleet were appearing everywhere. Multiple worlds reported critical system failures. "Sir," his aide reported, panic evident in his voice, "we've lost contact with the 7th Fleet. The 3rd Fleet reports all navigation systems are down. The quantum network, it's being rewritten somehow." Nayum's message continued, her words carrying both warning and hope. "We could have destroyed your invasion fleet. Instead, we chose to demonstrate only a fraction of our capabilities. This was not mercy, it was pragmatism. Earth does not seek war or domination." Across Imperial space, carefully chosen demonstrations of power continued. Transport hubs found their gravity fields reversed. Military installations discovered their quantum-encrypted databases had been decoded. Communication networks carried Earth's message on all frequencies. Even now, as I speak, you're discovering just how deeply we've integrated ourselves into your systems. Your quantum technology, which you believe secure, has been compromised for decades. We know every fleet movement, every military secret, every hidden installation. Admiral Jin Ho watched helplessly as more reports of technological failures poured in. Earth's quantum gravity disruptors had proven far more effective than anyone could have anticipated. The Empire's most advanced systems were being turned against them with frightening ease. "But this is not just a demonstration of power," Nayum continued, her voice softening slightly. "It is an invitation. Earth offers the Empire a choice. Continue your path of conquest and face the consequences, or join us in building something better." In the transmission facility, displays showed the chaos spreading across Imperial space. Yet every disruption was precisely controlled, designed to demonstrate power without causing harm or death. "To the subjugated worlds of the Empire, we offer hope. To the Imperial leadership, we offer wisdom. And to those who would still think of Earth as weak, we offer one final warning. What you have witnessed today represents less than 1% of our true capabilities." Admiral Jin Ho slumped in his command chair as the implications became clear. Earth hadn't just defeated their invasion fleet, they had compromised the Empire's entire infrastructure. Every quantum-based system, which formed the backbone of Imperial technology, was potentially under Earth's control. Nayung delivered her final words with quiet authority. "You have one standard Imperial month to respond. Choose wisely. Earth awaits your answer." As her transmission ended, the demonstrations across Imperial space ceased as suddenly as they had begun. Systems returned to normal. But the message was clear. Earth could reach out and touch the Empire anywhere, at any time. In the transmission facility, Nayung turned to her team. "Send the secondary package," she ordered. This contained detailed proof of Earth's capabilities, along with proposals for peaceful cooperation. The Empire needed to understand that humanity's strength lay not just in their technology, but in their ability to imagine a better future. Across the stars, a new reality was setting in. The Empire had not just failed to conquer Earth, they had awakened a power far greater than they could have imagined. The next move was theirs, but Earth had changed the rules of the game forever. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Nexus Prime echoed with chaos as Counselor Sumin stormed through the corridors, her ceremonial robes billowing behind her. Emergency alarms blared throughout the capital city as reports of uprisings poured in from across the Empire's 1,000 worlds. "Give me the latest status," she commanded, entering the Crisis Command Center where dozens of advisors huddled around holographic displays showing worlds in turmoil. "It's worse than we feared," her chief advisor reported, his face pale. "The Andromedans have seized control of 3 major shipyards. The Centauri colonies have declared independence. The Rigelian mining worlds are in open revolt." Su Min's fingers dug into the edge of the command table as she watched the empire she had served for 2 centuries begin to crumble. "How did we not see this coming?" she demanded, her voice sharp with fury. "These primitives from Earth, they've been playing us for fools." The displays showed scenes of chaos across Imperial space. On the industrial world of Nova Prime, Factory workers had seized control of automated production lines. The warrior clans of Taurus IV, long considered the Empire's most loyal soldiers, had turned their weapons against their former masters. The Earth humans. Another advisor spoke up. They're sharing their technology with the rebel forces. Our quantum networks can't stop them. They seem to have backdoors into every system we control. In a hidden base on one of Earth's orbital stations, Ambassador Hyunwoo coordinated the liberation efforts. His command center hummed with activity as he worked with resistance leaders from dozens of alien species. The Andromedans need encryption codes for the shipyard defense systems, a communications officer reported. The Rigelians are requesting quantum shield specifications. Hyunwoo nodded, authorizing the transfers. Earth had spent decades preparing not just for their own defense, but for this moment, the opportunity to help others break free from Imperial control. Back on Nexus Prime, Counselor Su-min received more devastating news. The banking system is compromised, an economic advisor reported, his voice trembling. Earth has released proof that the Imperial Council has been hoarding wealth from conquered worlds for centuries. The evidence was spreading like wildfire through Imperial communication channels. Records of exploitation, secret accounts, and centuries of systematic oppression were now visible to every citizen and subject race. Shut down the quantum networks. Su-min ordered desperately. We can't, her technology chief replied. Earth's access is hardwired into the system architecture. They're using protocols we didn't even know existed. Meanwhile, Ambassador Hyunwoo spoke with the leader of the Andromedan resistance. Your people have suffered long enough, he said, transmitting specifications for advanced shield technology. Earth stands ready to help you defend your newfound freedom. The Andromedan leader's multiple eyes blinked in gratitude. For centuries, the Empire told us we were inferior, incapable of managing advanced technology. Yet Earth has shown us the truth. They lied to maintain their power. Across Imperial space, subject races were discovering that the technology they had been denied was now within their grasp. Earth's databases provided not just weapons and defenses, but medical advances, educational systems, and tools for self-governance. In the Imperial Palace, Counselor Su-min watched helplessly as another sector declared independence. They're not just fighting us, she realized aloud. They're building something new. Her realization came too late. Earth's strategy had been masterful. They hadn't just defeated the Empire's military might, they had undermined its very foundation. Every secret kept, every lie told, every promise broken by the Empire was now exposed. Ambassador Hyunwoo received word that the Centauri colonies had successfully repelled an Imperial counterattack. The newly liberated worlds were learning to use Earth's technology with surprising speed. The Empire built its power on keeping others weak, he explained to his staff. We will build alliances by helping others grow strong. On Nexus Prime, as night fell over the capital city, Counselor Su-min stood at her office window, watching protest fires burn in the distance. The empire that had stood for 1,000 years was unraveling in a matter of weeks. Counselor, her last remaining advisor, approached cautiously. Earth has sent a message. They're offering terms for a peaceful transition of power. Su-min closed her eyes, finally understanding the full scope of Earth's victory. They hadn't just outfought the Empire. They had outfought it at every turn. While the Empire had seen only what it expected to see, Earth had seen everything, planned for everything, and changed everything. The revolution that started with Earth's resistance had become a galaxy-wide movement for freedom. The Empire's greatest crisis wasn't just the loss of its military power. It was the loss of its ability to control the truth. In the vast underground chamber of Earth's advanced physics complex, Dr. Jin A. Park stood beside a device that appeared deceptively simple, a spherical structure about 3 meters in diameter, its surface rippling with subtle patterns of light. The Imperial delegation, led by their top scientists, watched with barely concealed skepticism. What you're about to witness, Dr. Park began, her voice steady and confident, is something your empire believed impossible. We've not only detected dark matter but learned to control it. The Imperial Chief Scientist, Dr. Quan Su, couldn't hide his disbelief. Dark matter manipulation. We abandoned such research centuries ago. It's theoretically impossible to. His words died in his throat as Dr. Park activated the device. The air in the chamber seemed to ripple, and suddenly, a portion of the room became visible from all angles simultaneously, as if space itself had been folded like paper. Impossible, one of the Imperial observers whispered, his scientific instruments going haywire. Dr. Park smiled slightly. This is just the beginning. We could have shown you this technology decades ago, but we needed to understand your intentions first. Your empire's habit of conquering and subjugating other races made our choice clear. She pressed another control, and on the massive screens around them, live feeds showed Imperial warships across the galaxy suddenly stopping in space, their engines firing at full power but unable to move. Your ships are now surrounded by dark matter fields, she explained. We can control their density, shape, and properties at will. Your most powerful weapons are useless against something you can't even detect. The Imperial scientists frantically checked their readings, their advanced instruments unable to make sense of what they were seeing. Humanity had not just mastered technology the Empire had deemed impossible. They had perfected it. In orbit around Earth, the remaining Imperial attack fleet found itself trapped in invisible bubbles of controlled dark matter. Their quantum drives, energy weapons, and shield systems might as well have been children's toys against this fundamental force of the universe. But how? Dr. Quan Su demanded, his professional composure cracking. Our civilization is thousands of years older than yours. We've explored every possible. That was your weakness, Dr. Park interrupted. You explored what you thought was possible. We explored everything, especially the impossible. While you dismissed dark matter as uncontrollable, we saw it as the key to understanding the universe. She gestured to another screen showing the molecular structure of their dark matter engine. Your empire's technology is based on manipulating the visible universe. We learned to work with the invisible 85% that makes up everything else. Throughout Imperial space, more demonstrations of Earth's mastery over dark matter unfolded. Military bases found their quantum shields useless against weapons that passed through normal spacetime. Communication systems were bypassed by signals that traveled through dark matter channels. Your empire's greatest mistake, Dr. Park continued, wasn't underestimating our technology. It was assuming that your way of understanding the universe was the only way. She led the delegation to another chamber where multiple dark matter engines worked in concert. With these devices, we can create stable wormholes, manipulate gravity at a galactic scale, and even alter the flow of time itself. The Imperial observers watched in stunned silence as she demonstrated each capability. Their empire's most advanced technology, developed over thousands of years, had just been rendered obsolete by what they had considered a primitive race. We're not showing you this to threaten or intimidate, Dr. Park explained, her tone softening. We're showing you this because your empire needs to understand that the path you've chosen, the path of conquest and domination, is fundamentally flawed. On the screens, more Imperial warships discovered their weapons and shields failing against dark matter fields they couldn't detect or counter. The message was clear. Humanity could have destroyed them at any time. Your empire spent millennia conquering other races, taking their resources, and suppressing their development. Dr. Park concluded, we spent our time learning, exploring, and preparing. The universe is vast and full of wonders your empire never imagined possible. Perhaps it's time for a new approach. As the Imperial delegation prepared to leave, their worldview shattered. Dr. Park had one final demonstration. She activated all the dark matter engines simultaneously, and for a brief moment, the delegates saw the universe as humanity had learned to see it, not just the visible matter that made up their empire, but the vast, intricate web of dark matter that connected everything. The Empire's attack fleets, once the symbol of their absolute power, now floated helplessly in space, surrounded by forces they couldn't comprehend. Humanity had not just defeated them, they had unveiled a whole new understanding of reality itself. The new Galactic Council chambers floated in high orbit around Earth, a magnificent structure that blended architectural styles from 100 worlds. Inside the Grand Assembly Hall, representatives from every spacefaring race gathered for a historic moment, the signing of the new Galactic Charter. Representative Minji stood at the central podium, her simple Earth diplomatic uniform standing in stark contrast to the elaborate robes worn by many alien delegates. The chamber fell silent as she prepared to address the assembly. "Look around this room," she began, her voice carrying to every corner through advanced acoustic systems. "Just 1 year ago, many of us were enemies. The Empire ruled through fear, and Earth hid its true nature. Today we gather as equals to forge a new path forward." Among the delegates, Admiral Jinho, now the Empire's chief diplomat, sat quietly. His once proud military uniform had been replaced by simple diplomatic attire. The changes in his appearance reflected the profound transformation of the Empire itself. "Earth's journey to this moment began 50 years ago," Minji continued. "When we first detected Imperial communications, we faced a choice then: reveal ourselves or prepare in secret. When we discovered the Empire's nature, its history of conquest and subjugation, our path became clear." Holographic displays around the chamber showed images from the past year. The failed invasion of Earth, the liberation of conquered worlds, the sharing of advanced technology with former Imperial subjects. "We never wanted conquest," she explained, her voice carrying conviction. "Earth sought only to ensure that any first contact would be peaceful. Our apparent primitiveness was a shield, allowing us to prepare not just for our defense, but for this moment, the birth of a truly cooperative galactic society." Admiral Jinho rose to speak next, his face showing the humility learned through defeat and enlightenment. "The Empire's greatest error was not military or technological," he admitted. "We mistook patience for weakness, preparation for primitiveness. We saw what we expected to see, and that blindness nearly destroyed us." The assembled delegates murmured in agreement. Many represented worlds that had suffered under Imperial rule, now free and developing their own unique paths forward. "The new Galactic Charter before us today," Minji continued, "is not Earth's creation alone. Every world represented here has contributed their wisdom, their experiences, their hopes for the future." The charter itself appeared on the holographic displays, a living document that enshrined the principles of mutual respect, technological cooperation, and cultural preservation. Unlike the Empire's rigid hierarchy, this new order would be built on equality and shared growth. "Under this charter," she explained, "no race will be judged by their apparent level of development. No world will be forced to advance faster than they choose. No civilization will be denied access to knowledge that could benefit their people." Representatives from formerly subjugated worlds rose one by one, adding their voices in support. The Andromedans spoke of cultural renaissance, the Centaurians of technological flowering, the Rigelians of restored dignity. Admiral Jinho stepped forward again. "The Empire spent millennia believing that power came from domination. Earth showed us a different kind of power, the power of patience, of wisdom, of choosing the right moment to act." The charter's signing ceremony began, each representative approaching the central podium to add their world's mark to the document. The process would take hours, as every world, no matter how small, had equal standing in this new order. "This is not an ending," Minji declared as the signatures continued, "but a beginning. Earth's greatest victory wasn't defeating the Empire, it was creating this moment, where former enemies could come together as partners in building a better future." As the last signatures were added, the chamber erupted in celebration. Representatives from worlds that had been bitter enemies now embraced, sharing hopes for the future they would build together. The new galactic order was born not from conquest or domination, but from wisdom, patience, and the understanding that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to build something better. Outside the chamber windows, Earth rotated serenely below, no longer hiding its true nature. The planet that had fooled an empire now stood as a symbol of a new way forward, a future where cooperation replaced conquest and wisdom overcame war. Representative Minjoy looked out at the assembled delegates, seeing not former enemies or subjects, but partners in the greatest adventure their species had ever undertaken, the creation of a truly united galaxy.